Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today on the Rush Rundown, we're taking a look at a brand new deck. Yes, that's right, a brand new deck that is going to dominate the meta, dominate the rank ladder, and be sitting at the very, very top of the power rankings. That's right, today we're taking a look at Gaia?
For I can use the turtle's catapult to launch Gaia the Dragon Champion and shatter your defenses.
This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. That's right, the most recent ban list meant nothing at all. Yes, despite everyone expecting Gaia to be completely obliterated after the newest list, in fact, it was not. If you remember my video from last week on the Gaia Metarion deck that I personally loved so much, that was pretty much the only deck killed by the ban list. There are other variants and some tech cards that were taken out of Gaia's arsenal, but as it stands, the deck is still powerful. What we have here is a Metarion build, where we're playing more of the Metarion guys. We've completely cut out all the hero cards. Not that the hero stuff is unplayable with the new list, but we've hit a point in our consistency where we need, rather than multiple engines that have little synergies, to just streamline our play into 2 or 3 specific things. So obviously, if you want me to go super deep on what the deck does, you can check out the last video. I'm gonna try and not repeat myself. I'd rather just go over what's new here, right? So first of all, the big changes. Battle-tested Gaia the Fierce Knight is going to 3, so he conflicts with the Star Restart, which is pretty much both of them at 3 in most Gaia lists. So we're now down to 2 battle-tested, 1 Star Restart. This is another reason why we're cutting the hero cards, because rather than just reborning one of the things we want, we're just going to try and rip it off the top. The other kind of gameplay things we changed is this version of the deck is actually looking to mill itself a lot more than before, getting a whole bunch of things engraved and hopefully being able to resolve Monster Calling to have our key pieces on field, specifically the Curse of Dragon, and we're including 1 copy of the OG Gaia the Fierce Knight. So we are going to go over the card by card. It's just, so usually we start our card by cards with the skill, but I read that in the last video, and I don't really think I should read it again because it hasn't changed. Despite what we wanted, the skill has not changed. So let's just go over the card by card real quick, and then let's hop into the game to show off what this new deck can do. 2 battle tested, like I said, this is limit 3, so it conflicts with our Star Restarts. Yes, it's not shown here that the limits are in place because, of course, I am recording and uploading this before the list is actually in effect. We still have about a week and a half as of recording before the list goes into effect. So you can still play the previous version of Gaia I talked about before. 3 Rising Light Angel Essel, she's still insane in this deck, and like I said before, we are on a more mill heavy version of the deck, so she is still very useful for her milling effect. We're on 2 Imaginary Reactor. This is essentially copies 4 and 5 of our Imaginary Actor as well. He does enable us to be able to mill more, hopefully hitting a card like Curse of Dragon or Gaia into the graveyard. We're on 1 of the OG Gaia the Fierce Knight. I said before, we're playing Monster Calling, so we want more targets for Monster Calling, things that we can just plus 2 off of. You know, summoning him and drawing a card as well is really nice. We're on 3 Curse of Dragon, same as before. We need to see the Curse of Dragons to be able to tribute summon the battle-tested Gaia. We also want to make sure we have good cards to send, and since we only have the 1 Star Restart, I'd rather have Curse of Dragon maxed out so we can just keep sending him and hopefully draw the Metarion names. We're on 2 Sir Painter, 3 Sword Dancer, 3 Imaginary Actor, of course our 1 Polymerization, because it is mentioned on the skill, it is a mandatory including this deck, 3 Monster Calling. Like I was saying when I was going over the normal guides before, that this card's actually pretty good for us now that we've had such a decent consistency hit to us that we want to be drawing more and actually just being able to snatch these Curse of Dragons and this Gaia out of our graveyard to make our plays. We're on 1 Star Restart because it is limit 3 and conflicts with our battle tested. We're on our Court Order Talismanic Seal Array, 3 Fusion because we need to hard open this bad boy, For our Legend Trap, we are on Trap Hole. We are just here to counter other Gaia decks, so we'd rather play a card that we can instantly kill their battle tested with, rather than waiting around for the battle phase, which will probably not have a back row when that happens. But if they do make it to the battle phase, we are on one buffered slime. Hopefully, this will just keep us alive. Now, let's hop into the extra. So we're on 2 Metarion Ashura Star. This was normal in my other version of the deck. Now that we're not really conflicting with any hero cards for space, we're on the 2 Ashura Star, 1 Gaia Conqueror Champions, 2 Swift Gaia the Dragon Champion, and 1 Metarion Vitra Star. We are playing the Metarion guys that counter dragons. The second best deck in the game is still the Miragias Dragons deck, so of course we're going to want to focus on cards that counter that. As well, our Trap Hole from before does also counter the dragons, very important, and then also Vitra Star here is a big counter for the dragons. Now that was pretty quick. I gotta say, this is the first time the raw footage from our card by card has been under 10 minutes. Oh, great, I probably don't have much to cut out, do I, huh? Anyway, let's hop in the games and see just how crazy this deck still is. Alright, here we are, game number 1, and our opponent is on Pyro. Pyro's a really interesting deck. I haven't really gotten a chance to find a build that really speaks to me. It's kind of bland in the current form I have it, so I haven't really done anything with it. I would like to do a future video on the Pyro deck, but that's for another time. Anyway, so we're going second, and our opponent's going to go ahead and drop a turn. Normal summon a 1500 dude, set a card, and set another card. Okay, let's kill this guy. Let's beat him to death with hammers. We're going to lead SL effect, hit 2 bangers on the top. You can see we got Gaia and Cursed Dragon. Go ahead and normal that Cursed Dragon. Use Monster Calling, pitch Cursed Dragon, summon out the Gaia, draw another Monster Calling. Go ahead and tribute summon Battle Tested over 2 just to make board space. Battle Tested effect. Go ahead and fusion summon Gaia Conqueror Champions. Gaia Conqueror Champions going to pop that back row, putting back the SL because we need the other cards in grave. Activate the skill, boost him, add the Sword Dancer, add the Poly. Normal the reactor, turn him into actor. Activate Poly so we can fuse with a card in hand and field. Summon out the Metarion Ashura Star, and I believe this might be the end of the game. Ashura Star pops the face down monster. Remember, he can pop face down monsters. Go ahead and go battle. Gaia swings in, kills the 1500 dude, 32 to the face, and Ashura Star finishes him off. A quick one, a very, very quick one. This deck is still incredibly explosive. With the right kind of hand, it looks like you can still just kill your opponent on turns 2 or 3. But maybe that's just because our opponent was on a suboptimal deck. We'll just have to go into game 2 and see if an opponent can put up more of a challenge. Alright, here we are, game number 2, and our opponent is on Gaia Hero. I do love me the hero cards. We're going second, and our hand would honestly go really hard in Belatra. Our opponent's going to normal summon an Argent and a Hero of the Yeast. I was really assuming this was pure Hero, but on this Argent, they hit both Avian Burst Ninja and reveal a battle-tested Gaia. I'm kind of hoping that they didn't actually have a Gaia in hand here, so I wouldn't be any much of an issue considering they clocked off board. They do go ahead and tribute summon a Gaia the Fierce Knight and pass their turn. I can only assume they think they're safe from any kind of like instant killing play here, that they just left their monsters in hand, because we do know that's Avian Perstintrix. Go ahead and activate SL, milling off the top Fusion and Cursed Dragon, just absolutely setting up our grave and field and everything just perfectly for us, so we can actually make a play here. Go ahead and normal summon the reactor, activate the effect. We did get the Sword Dancer off our skills, so we're going to go ahead and fusion summon the Ashura Star. This is pretty good. You'll notice our board is a little clogged up, so the best we can do is go battle and clean up what they have on the field. We did snipe a negate attack off the Ashura Star, so we can kind of see why they thought they were safe there. Alright, just swinging in for a whole bunch of damage. The opponent is pretty much just dead turn 3 if they can't do... Turn 4, I mean, sorry. If they can't do anything against us. But we do know they do have at least a guaranteed hero fusion. They're going to normal summon 2 monsters, tribute summon for the battle-tested Gaia, okay. And then they add Poly, and then they add Avian. And now I'm thinking, oh my god, this could be over for us. We're going to activate battle-tested, milling a monster calling, fusion summoning the Gaia Conqueror Champions, using his effect. And he can attack directly this turn. Interesting, paying 0 respect to our back row. It is fake, but they wouldn't know that. We're going to go ahead and summon the Burst Wingman. I'm assuming our back row is dead here. It doesn't really matter. It wasn't doing this anyway. You can notice here that they were on the barrier. That's pretty interesting in a format where back row is pretty much not resolving unless it's activatable on summon. So we're going to go ahead and swing over our Surestar and swing over our Essel. This was, hold on, pause. This was the biggest mistake they could have made. I would personally assume you'd want to keep the skill offline, but maybe this guy knows what he's doing. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and draw for turn. We draw Monster Calling, activate the Monster Calling, get a Sir Painter, summon out the Gaia, skill, pitch, put our guy in defense, because we kind of bricked up there. Alright, we'll swing over the Gaia, Conqueror Champions. Probably wish we could have done something about the Burst Wingman, but whatever, he was kind of big there. They're going to go ahead, activate the Argent, and completely whiff. This is a problem with the Argent in the Gaia deck, is it pretty much not always whiffs, but it's probably going to whiff. Activate the skill again, boost up this Burst Wingman even further, just swinging over. They're just going to clear out our board here. We do get to keep this Essel we set, so at least if we can draw like a tribute guy, we'll be able to tribute summon. And that is the end of the game. Go ahead and normal summon the Balthazar Gaia effect, fusion summon, and I believe this guy has a second effect, doesn't he? Gaia Conqueror Champions effect. This turn, this card can attack directly, and wouldn't you know, they were under 2,600. So we just get to sneak in and steal the game. Once again, I'm pretty sure this deck is still broken. Alright, here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means. Actually, no, this isn't Cyber Dragon. So I would always love to end these videos with a Cyber Dragon game, but unfortunately, it seems like Gaia has completely replaced Cyber Dragon. It is the #1 deck you'll see on ladder. It's free, so everyone's playing it, and no one really cares about the impending ban list. So, for now, in the foreseeable future, our last game will be against a Gaia deck. This game, however, is actually the mirror. This person is also on Gaia Metarion. So we'll go ahead and get started. You can see we're going first, and we kind of bricked. Our hand is really bad. We'll need this Essel as a good mill to maybe be able to Monster Calling for something good. An Actor there's nice, at least there's a card we can set. And what do we mill off Essel but our only 2 trap cards in the deck? Oh no, I assumed I was already dead at this point. So we'll just go ahead and set the hand. Hey, at least we got this. It's not much of a wall, but you know. Setting the Cursed Dragon with a tribute set, so at least we're not in attack position anymore. And then this is where I got terrified that they normal summon a Sword Dancer, normal summon a Sir Painter, and then I realized, oh my god, they have no access to anything fusion related. Go ahead and crash into the Cursed Dragon. Pretty nice that they misplayed there. Really appreciate that. Go ahead and draw for turn again. Monster Calling, pitch, draw. Pretty good there. Summon back out the Cursed Dragon. Go ahead and tribute summon the Balthazar effect. We milled Polly, which kind of sucks. But whatever, we're going to add it anyway. Go ahead and summon the Gaia Conqueror Champions. Go ahead and snipe one of those back rows. We ended up hitting a Star Restart. Unfortunately, they probably have multiple of those, where we are only playing the one since we're testing Post-Banlist, and they are not. Going to activate Polymerization because we can't fuse from hand. Summoning out the Metarion Assured Star. Now, we could use this boost effect, but we should probably just clean up the last back row. And it was the second Star Restart, wouldn't you know? Go ahead and activate our Talismanic Steel Ray, putting back a whole bunch of guys that we'd prefer to draw next turn. Lowering down the Sword Dancer, and we are kind of stuck with these 2 monsters in hand, but we are swinging at the opponent for lethal. That's just game. They had almost a full board, and then we just bullied our way through everything and punched them in the face for a lot of damage. I don't know what to say about this deck. I really don't know what to say. So we're back with deck end. Oh boy. Are you sick of seeing this skill resolve yet? I sure am. So let's go over the pros and cons. Because surprisingly, this version of the deck does actually have some cons. So first, the cons. We actually did take a pretty big consistency hit. We do actually have completely dead hands. Obviously, we're playing so many spell cards. If we only draw those, of course, we're just going to lose. But since we have kind of less of an opportunity to get back materials from our grave, there is a shot that we just completely run out of gas and just lose. And We have no way of putting more cards in to fix that, because at that point we're losing our consistency once again. We're playing the Metarion engine to maximize our consistency of the non-Gaia cards, but even then, we still might just draw Reactor, Serpainter, Sword Dancer, Actor, in any combination along with the other cards, or with each other, and no way of finding any fusions. The adding of poly is thankfully once per duel, and adding overall in this deck is once per duel as well. We're happy that this deck is limited in such a way, but as you could see from those games we just had, sometimes you just win in one turn anyway. As well, at this moment, we are super weak. We are testing a post-Banlist deck, but like I said at the top, there is about another 2 weeks before the list actually goes into effect. So if you're trying to play this deck now, well, sorry, you're probably just going to lose to someone playing the still fully put together deck. Star Restart was a massive loss for this deck. Having it conflict with Battle Tested was honestly a great hit by the team, but at the end of it, the skill is still way too strong. So let's talk some pros now. First of all, this deck still just kills going second, going third maybe, and sometimes you just wait for going fourth. Honestly, it's just an absolute OTK machine. The fact that it still doesn't care about background in any way, shape, or form is really negative for the game. It's a pro for the deck, it's negative for the game. The other pros is now, since we're adding in the OG Gaia the Fierce Knight, we can just use our one polymerization to fuse it in a hard drawn Cursor Dragon, or maybe a Cursor Dragon that sat on the field for a turn or something like that, fused into one of our other Gaia dudes. We also have a much better advantage in this deck against the literal second best deck in the room, which isn't really saying much when the top Gaia decks standing next to each other with their arms crossed, just saying, go ahead, challenge us. But we're able to take on dragons pretty easily. It's just you're not very likely to see any dragon decks while Gaia is still reigning supreme. All in all, this deck is still crazy. This version of the deck was already being played. I do believe pre-Banlist, Gaia Metarion was the quote-unquote best deck in the game. It was the one winning the most tournaments, had the most tops in tournaments, as well was the most represented in the festival. But this weaker version is still really strong. We pretty much just traded out all the previous trap cards and other check choices for a more streamlined deck, which is still not crazy streamlined because of the restrictions, but it is still overwhelmingly powerful and dominant compared to the other decks in the game. Honestly, I'm a little hopeful for the future. Maybe they could do something to rework this skill. Maybe, I don't know, maybe make it have to target a Cursor Dragon or an OG Gaia to do the boost. Maybe some kind of restriction that says you can't play Metarion cards. I don't know. I don't know what we can do to fix it. But hey, if you just want to play the best deck in the room, here you go. Give this a shot, and I'm sure it'll be great. Now, at the end of this video, I will say if there is a deck you like to see me feature on the series, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. With all that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Goodbye.